Blacksburg, Virginia, AP. Democrat Abigail Spanberger is more eager to talk about struggling soybean farmers than President Donald Trump's attack on American institutions. She plays down the historic nature of her campaign for Virginia governor and avoids making big, bold promises about what she will accomplish if elected. Yet some believe the moderate approach, others call it boring, that the former Congresswoman and CIA case officer has taken heading into Tuesday's election holds the key to the Democratic Party's national revival. Don't promise things you know you can't deliver, Spanberger said aboard her bus campaigning this week to be the state's first female governor. It was a sober warning to Democratic leaders across the country. New York mayoral candidate Mayor Mamdani and former President Joe Biden among them. It may be an underwhelming message for the millions of angry voters who have flocked to anti-Donald Trump protests in recent weeks demanding that Democratic leaders take bold action to fight the Republicans' norm-busting presidency. But as the Democratic Party searches for an effective message and messengers in the wake of last fall's Election Day drubbing, Spanberger is offering a pragmatic focus on economic concerns and a toned-down pledge to address Trump's most damaging policies when possible. That tack is in line with a growing group of Democratic governors, top party operatives, and Mickey Sherrill, the New Jersey Congresswoman and former Navy helicopter pilot who is the only other Democratic gubernatorial hopeful on the ballot next week. They are betting big that a centrist message aimed at voters' economic concerns will deliver victory where an intense focus on stopping Trump from unraveling American democracy failed in 2024. The Republican nominees in Virginia and New Jersey, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl-Sears and Trump-endorsed former business owner and state legislator Jack Ciattarelli, have tried to paint their Democratic opponents as out-of-touch liberals more concerned about transgender rights and immigrants who are in the United States illegally than they are about the safety of school children. That playbook worked for Trump in the last presidential election. But given the national security backgrounds of Spanberger and Sherrill, it is unclear whether that will work Tuesday. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who has campaigned alongside Spanberger and Sherrill over the past week, noted that both candidates have focused on rising costs while offering a clear contrast to the chaos that has consumed Trump's Washington. It's largely the same approach that Shapiro has taken as he gears up for a 2026 re-election campaign in the swing state before a possible 2028 presidential bid. The lesson is winning, Shapiro said, when asked about whether the approach reflects lessons learned from Democrats' struggles in 2024. Democratic divisions loom. The Democratic Party is far from united on how to move forward. Just as Spanberger and Sherrill embrace moderation, progressive leaders such as Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have lined up behind Mamdani, who is also on the ballot Tuesday. The self-described Democratic Socialist has called for government-run grocery stores, free public transit, and rent freezes, among other policies that may be difficult to enact if he wins. Mamdani is in an increasingly caustic race with former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who is running as an independent after losing the Democratic primary to Mamdani. The socialists want to take over the Democratic Party, Cuomo said in a weekend radio interview. He wins. Book airline tickets for Florida now. But some Democratic voters, even some who came out to hear Spanberger's message in Virginia this week, say they are excited about Mamdani. Michael Blount, a 31-year-old commercial window cleaner, joined dozens of voters at a Norfolk restaurant on Sunday to see Spanberger. He said he is impressed by her bipartisan approach and experience in law enforcement, but he also hopes Mamdani wins and emerges as a national star. It's okay to have moderates create common ground and progressives who are down to fight, he said, expressing frustration with his party's leaders in Washington. I'm like, what are we doing? We're not hitting back. MAGA Republicans aren't holding back, so why are we? Referring to Trump's Make America Great Again movement. Spanberger was less enthusiastic about Mamdani's emergence. In an interview, Spanberger said she fears his approach could push people away from the party, but not necessarily because of his most controversial policies, even those she disagrees with. She sees it as a matter of telling the truth. We should always, always, always dream big. It's not a focus on just do little things, she said, But if he's making promises that he can't keep to people who are struggling to put food on the table for their kids or to pay their bus fare to get to their second job of the day, then what's the long-term impact on the people who put their faith in somebody? Spanberger offered a similar criticism of Biden's campaign promises to cancel student debt. "We wonder why people are like, oh, I'm tired of voting for the Democrats," she said. "If you were to talk to people about canceling debt, a number of people will express some level of, he didn't do what he said he was going to do." Well, he was never going to be able to do that, right? A collection of Democratic operatives released a report this week, Deciding to Win Toward a Common-Sense Renewal of the Democratic Party, that effectively endorses Spanberger's approach. The report features input from top advisors to Biden, former President Barack Obama, and former Vice President Kamala Harris. It calls on Democratic candidates to reject progressive purity tests and talk less about democracy, climate change, and far-left cultural priorities, and more about healthcare, the cost of living,